r/AskReddit. What is a useful skill everyone should learn? When I was in high school and failed to get a summer job, my dad made me cook every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for the family, every day, for the whole summer, as punishment. On top of that, I wasn't allowed to ever repeat a dish. Worked my way through a whole cookbook, and then some. It ended up being inadvertently the most valuable lesson he ever taught me. Being able to cook a wide variety of really good meals is a constant source of simple joy in my life. Not to mention, it's a massive advantage in the dating scene. Frantically writing this down on my list of punishments to give my kids instead of spankings and lectures. Balancing an account and keeping an accurate balance. I worked at a bank and it was both frustrating and heartbreaking. The number of people who had no idea how much money they actually had. They'd check their app or use their card and assume it was up to the minute accurate. Most of them paid hundreds of dollars a month in overdraft fees over stupid crap because they couldn't be bothered to actually track their spending. Learn to identify scanned messages. No, your computer is not infected with flashing multicolor viruses. No, hot singles are not waiting to meet you. No, you didn't win a contest you didn't enter. No, Nigerian princes are not sharing their fortunes. No, the IRS is not calling you to ask for your personal info or for gift cards. Also, no mom or dad, we won't ask you for a lot of money just minutes after we got a different number. No, hot singles are not waiting to meet you. It crushed my hopes. Perhaps you are the hot single in your area. Learn on my freshman high. Learn to float, backstroke, the butterfly, swim correctly and come up for air the correct way. I say learn how to float really good. So you can rest, and when taking in some water, you don't panic, you just choke for your air and don't panic. Get your bearings back, and understand how a riptide works. And never swim alone. I remember as a little kid my mom took me to a swimming lesson over the summer once. When the instructor said we were going to learn how to float, I thought to myself, how the hell do you learn how to float? Sure enough, she then taught us how to float. I remember laying there looking up at the sky in awe of the witchcraft I'd just been shown. How to listen. A lot of people currently tend to lack the ability to actually listen. It's not about shouting points at each other, it's about shutting up and actually listening to what the other person is saying. Active listening. Yes and yes, especially in arguments. Learning to understand the other person instead of being right. It will help effectively argue your own perspective better if you understand why and person thinks what they do. I have too many family members who argue without even listening. I try to start those arguments by active listening to myself. Why am I so upset? That usually helps me explain to the other person what I'm feeling rather than just blaming them first. It seems to help land the point on a soft conversation rather than a hard argument of blame. Swimming, basic home repair, minor electrical, minor plumbing, basic automotive repair, oil changes, brakes when in doubt. YouTube. For basic repairs, not swimming if you're already in the thick of it. I had to repair my fuse box on my car last week. I know next to nothing about cars or how to work on them, but thanks to YouTube I fixed it successfully. Now I'm over here YouTubing how to change a tire and etc. that I was never taught. How to have compassion for other people's struggles. How to observe situations without being judgmental. How to have respect for yourself and value yourself as an individual. How to be kind to others. How to communicate by actively listening as well as speaking. How to admit when you're wrong and learn from your mistakes. How to plan for the future but live in the moment. Tying a proper knot. Learn and practice a few different ones that have different uses. YouTube is filled with lessons. You'll amaze your friends, or even yourself. I only know one knot, the bowline. It's almost all you need. My dad literally uses the bowline for everything. Yesterday I saw him tie two bowlines together to join a piece of rope that the dog chewed through. How to write an email. Seriously? Too many people go out into the wide world with no idea how to write a professional level email. Writing one the same way you text won't cut it when you are looking for a job. Partly, people don't understand email is a paper trail to cover your behind. You can tell me 1,000 times over in person, but you have no proof if no email happens. If your boss tells you to do something stupid, get them to email it to you. So when you inevitably get talked to about it, you have email middle finger. How to break out of someone's grip. I've taught my wife, my daughter, many of my female friends, and back in the day when I was a daycare teacher, all of my students. We had someone try to kidnap one of our older kids once, and that was it. That very day I taught all of the kids and drilled it with them over the next couple of weeks. Even had a grandmother come in to pick up her granddaughter and ask for me specifically so that she could thank me for showing her granddaughter how to do that. Thing to remember, do not try to pull against their fingers. You can hold your body weight by your fingers. Think of hanging from the monkey bars by your fingers. Instead pull towards their thumb. The thumb is weak in comparison to the fingers. Also scream fire, not help. People react faster to fire than they do for help. I hope this helps. Many basic self-defense classes will go over this and more. Remember, you don't need to be an MMA fighter to get yourself out of a bad situation. DBT skills, dialectical behavior therapy. Used as a part of treatment for emotional instability, it teaches core concepts that include mindfulness, distress tolerance, interpersonal relationship skills, radical acceptance, self-soothing when in a state of anger, distress, etc. Truly useful for everyone. Math, statistics, and probability. I would hope any adult understands enough basic math to operate a calculator, but statistics and probability is a very important thing to understand that not many people do. It saddens me to see people in the comments section of r/science or in other places discussing the results based off the headline and abstract, but not stepping back to look at sample size or population characteristics. Take everything with a grain of salt. Basic sewing by hand. It's more simple than someone who hasn't learned might think. It's just going in out like lacing up a pair of sneakers. You don't even have to be that good at it. Never mind what a lock stitch or a cover seam is, as long as the job gets done and it hopefully doesn't reopen, you're good. Say there's a hole in the armpit of your favorite shirt, you should know how to close it up. I think most of us learn this in home EC, but not everybody remembers. I learned it beforehand from my mum and grandmother. How to fight. Not only would it prevent you from being bullied, but it will prevent you from being a bully. People vastly underestimate how regular fight training, jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, and Muay Thai, makes actual physical confrontations relatively distasteful. Side benefit, getting your ass kicked is a healthy dose of humility that every human should experience at least once. Lockpicking. It's easy to learn and literally opens doors for you. Lost the key to your fireproof safe? Problem solved with lockpicking. Locked yourself out? Most door locks are insanely easy to pick. Get yourself handcuffed for whatever reason? Well, you get the point. You can pick up a clear lock for training and a cheap set of picks for almost nothing on Amazon. The YouTube videos are pretty darn in-depth. Check out Lockpicking Lawyer or Bosnian Bill. There are competitions and crap if you're competitive. Clubs if you want to hang out with other lockpicking enthusiasts. You can also turn it into a lucrative career. Also, picking a padlock is better than any fidget fad for giving your hands something to do. Super satisfying when it opens. Continues to be satisfying every time too. How to understand a bank statement and balance your checkbook. Especially among young people today, they only care about having a monthly payment on their credit card that they think they can afford. They have no idea of the ratio between what they make and what they spend. And at least once in everyone's life they are shocked and surprised when all of their credit cards are maxed out and they can't spend any more money because they've only been making minimum payments on all the credit cards. And the corollary to that is how critically important it is to begin saving for your retirement when you're in your 20s. That money that you put in now grows the longest amount of time and does the most good for building up your nest egg for when you retire. The stuff you start saving at 50 won't even be 1/10 of the amount that you could have in savings if you start putting away when you're 20. Thank you for watching till the end. Remember to like and subscribe for regular content like this on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at noon. Feel free to post suggestions in the comments below.